Hello, hello guys. Welcome to 3D Masterminds, and this is a complete beginner tutorial where I am going to walk you through the basics of 3D modeling in Cinema 4D. Don't worry if you have never used Cinema 4D, it will be a complete beginner course, scratch from zero experience. So as I take you through the journey of 3D modeling, be sure to follow my tutorials. This is going to be a part 1 of Cinema 4D, where I'm going to talk about the layouts of the overall software and how the things are placed and how we interact with different UIs to get our results, and how we move object, how we rotate, how we scale, how we add an object, how we delete, how we make object editable in Cinema 4D. So let's begin our course. So here we have a basic UI of Cinema 4D. In top corner you can see the file, edit menu, create, mode, selects, to the help. From here we can save or open our new project. We can edit, do, undo, redo, cut, paste, and in here we have create option. We can create spline, message, whatever we like. But while modeling we are not going to use these upper sections. We are basically using these sections right over here to add our cube, and for editing options we are going to choose these options on top corner, on top, middle, top. And to move, scale and rotate our objects, we are simply going to select the move, rotation and scale from here. So let's start our tutorial. So first of all, before doing anything else, we need a reference image to, from which we can model our basic Cinema 4D. We can model our basics 3D objects. So here I have a here I am going to search a basic Rubik's cube. So in this tutorial we are going to model a simple Rubik's cube. So this is a Rubik's cube. So let me find a more defined reference. Whenever you search the references in Google, so be clear that you want to see every perspective of the model you want to model, because if you just start modeling these models, you don't know what color goes behind, what colors goes front. So I'm gonna select something that is more preferable. Let me see. Rubik's cube, front, back, left, right, top, down. I am just giving, searching the best pictures. Why can't I find one today? I am going to research Rubik's cube reference. Here it is. So right here I have a basic structure of Rubik's cube, how the colors are placed and how the shapes are divided into each part. So let's take this as a reference, and I am going to add this on my files. So let's start modeling. I am going to add my Rubik's Cube over here, images, cube, I'm just going to add the Rubik's Cube in the stream so you guys can see how we are modeling our cube. So cube, and I'm just going to scale Rubik's Cube, bring it on top, simply scaling the cube. So guys, now let's add an object. So Rubik's Cube, the shape, we have to first study the shape. So the Rubik's Cube is a kind of square, so in here we can find the cube. So to model, to add any object, we just hover around here, click and add an object, or you can just hold your left click and select the object you wanna use. I am going to use a cube. Now to pan around the viewport, I am just going to select my Alt, and I am holding Alt, and with my left mouse button I am just trying to rotate the viewport along the axis. If I press Alt and scroll my mouse wheel, I am able to zoom in and zoom out, and if I just hold Alt and press the right mouse button, I am going to zoom in and out more faster. So remember these tools, and the middle mouse button will help you open different viewports. This is the top view, this is front view, this is the right view of the cube. So while modeling, let's talk about the basics of modeling on Cinema 4D. So currently we are not able to model any faces, any vertices or any edges in our model because we have not make it in editable. So in Cinema 4D, to make our object editable, we simply have to click right. So now see, when I'm clicking, it's not giving an option to edit the mode because I am not in the model mode. So be clear guys, whenever you are making your object editable, come over here, click in the model mode. Now click your object, right click and make it editable. The shortcut for making editable is C. So if you are in this selection mode, you can directly convert it by selecting the cube. This model selection mode, you can directly convert it into editable. So control, just press C to make editable. Now if you see our object is editable over here. Before it was like a cube. When I make it editable, it changes its icon to triangle kind of polygon shape. So now I can model, but currently we are not able to select any of the faces, either the edges or the vertices points of our 3D model. Now how do we just select the faces of our 3D model? To do that, we simply have to go in the object face selection mode and select our faces like this. We can manipulate the faces as we want, and if we go on the as selection mode, we can select our edges. We can just currently, guys, our uh, gimbal is kind of tilted. To fix that, we can go to it is on coordinate system. We can just go on to world. It was the object. Now we can go to the world. Now it has fixed. We can just manipulate the object by selecting the edges. We can also select the points to model our objects. We can manipulate the points. These are the points we can manipulate, these black dots. We can manipulate these points to manipulate to give the shape to our object. So guys, we are going to recap the things we did currently. So we just added a cube. We right clicked. I am using my alt and mouse buttons to pan around my viewport. Be sure to follow these steps to pan around and practice. I am simply going to choose the model selection mode, and I'm going to make it editable, or press C to make it editable. Now we can select by selecting the object, we can either select the points, the edges, these are the points, the edges, or the faces of our 3D model. We can rotate, we can scale. So here I am going to select everything. So here we have gizmos that helps us to manipulate our object, to move, scale, and rotate our object. Simply we have a move tool. This cursor is a move tool. We can move our cube to any directions, up, down. If we select this, we can move our cube to any directions too. And we have rotations. We can rotate our cube anywhere we want. And we have scaling. We can scale our cube the way we want. So these are the basics of scaling, adding object, adding a cube, and using these tools to manipulate the faces, and making cube editable. So let's make a Rubik's cube now, guys, by using the simple techniques we just learned. We will learn some exclusions, some bevel, and some of the inserts functions to get the shape of this Rubik's cube. So let's go. You will learn this as you follow the tutorial. So let's make our Rubik's cube. I'm just going to erase everything. Now again I am going to add a cube. So if you have forgotten our steps, I am going to do everything from scratch. So let's again do it. I'm going to add. I'm adding a cube. Sorry, I am new. I am not that proficient in English, guys, so forgive me. And I am going to add a cube. Simply I clicked here, and I added a cube. And I am going to move. I am using alt and my mouse buttons to pan around my 3D view. So now I am going to make it editable. So I am in object selection mode. I am going to make it editable, or I can simply press C. When I press C, look guys, here it will convert its shape into a polygon or kind of triangle icon. So when I press C, it is going to convert it into a polygon. So I am going to make it editable. We have two options. I can make it right click, make editable, or I can just press C. So for the sake of the tutorial, I am not going to follow any shortcuts. I am going to make it as beginner friendly as it gets. So right click, make it editable. Now it has been made editable. Now simply to get the kind of the cube Rubik's cube shape we have over here, I simply want to give it a loop cuts, but I'm going to give it a loop cut. So to give a loop cuts, always remember guys, if you want to manipulate the faces, add the faces, you select the face tool. To give a loop cut, you select the edge. So I'm selecting the edge, I'm right clicking, and I am on selecting my loop path cut. I am not selecting edge cut, I am selecting loop path cut, and I'm simply giving it the loop cut of 2 right over there, and the position loop cut. Let's not do this guys, it will let me show you a more easy way to manipulate our object. So let's go to cube. Now we have the properties. Here we have the properties. From here we can give it a segments of 3 3 3 to get that 3 by 3 box in our cube. So currently we are not able to see the cubes, the lines, so we simply go on display. When you go on display and click the lines, ground setting with lines, you can see we have now 3 by 3 box. If I decrease this or increase this, the line will just increase and decrease in our cube too. So now once we have done this, now we can make it editable. So guys, remember, select cube in object, in segments, add your segments to make a cube. Now I am going to select face. I am going to make it editable. I am simply going to on my object mode, right click, make it editable, and I am going to select the faces. On the faces mode, now we gotta give our cube kind of insert. So in Rubik's cube, each part of these faces are kind of separate objects. So we have to mimic, or we have to give it an insert so it looks like the faces have more faces that are the separate part of the cube. So I am selecting all, Control A to select all, and right clicking, and I am going on my insert. The shortcut key for insert is I, so I am going to insert and simply dragging my mouse up or down. I can find so guys, here we have a problem here. When I'm inserting, it is reading the whole selection as a whole, and it is inserting the faces along with the corner of edges of these whole selected area. So simply to fix that, you just have to uncheck the preserve group option, and it will fix that for you, and just you can manipulate your insert value from here. I am going to give it this much. So currently it looks like a Rubik's cube for us, but it is not quite there yet. Now we have to give it a exclusion. If you see in the Rubik's cube, the portion of these are quite outside of the cube, so to do that we need to give it an exclusion. So Control Z, Control Z, Control Z while I am in the selection mode. If you somehow deselect it, go on the fixed selection mode and go on the live selection tool, just select every faces guys. The 3D modeling process is kind of lengthy, so don't get overwhelmed when you see someone modeling faster than you, so you can always go back and check. No one learns at once, you need a practice. So if you practice more, you will get more knowledge on how to do certain things in an easy way. So simply I am selecting the cube and I am going to exclude my shapes. I selected, right clicked, I selected extrude and I am dragging my mouse. Either I can drag it inside or outside. I am dragging it outside. Once I have done, I can manipulate it from here too. This much will be okay for us now. So yes, I think we have our Rubik's cube, somewhat of a Rubik's cube now. Let's give it a color. So in our Rubik's cube we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 colors. So in here guys, simply here we have a material option. We are not going to do a fast export level material coloring. We are just going to use random. We are just going to use basics solid colors. So we are not tweaking any lightings, any reflections, any shadows in our material. We are just going to use a complete plain material. We need a 6 1 2 3 4 5 6. So one more 7 because you will know later. So I'm gonna select first one white, kind of white, second one red, third one green, fourth one the yellow, fifth one the orange. You can choose whatever material you want. You just have to follow me. What I do, you just don't have to follow me. You can just, if you want to make it blue, you can make it a red. Whatever you like, you can just make it. So I'm going to select the blue. Now we select the faces. Last selection mode. I'm on the live selection mode. Face 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. I am taking it as a front reference. So in front we have a green, so let's put green. I'm simply dragging our green. So in right we have red, so select again. I am shift selecting my faces, so drag and drop your material. In left we have orange, so simply shift select orange. On top we have yellow, so simply select yellow. On bottom we have white, and on this we have a blue. So this is our Rubik's Cube, guys, almost done. We just use simple techniques, we just use simple modeling that I just explained you. We just did we just added a cube, we just scaled it, and we make it editable. We just gave it subdivision segments. We didn't give it subdivision, we gave it segments, and we insert those front faces and we extruded them, and now we colored them. So these are the few steps we did. And if you want to go more crazy on your cube, you can just select everything. This is a loop selection, it will select the loop. So you can just select this, and now I had this white part, I am going to make it totally black and drag and drop. If you want to give it that kind of black we have in our picture, if you want to give it that kind of black, you can do that. So I'm not going to, that's upon you guys. So I hope you like this beginner tutorial. Now I am again going to recap. So this is a totally beginner, and I know that sometimes even I make mistakes, so again I am going to do it totally from the scratch. So what we learned today is that we came on Cinema 4D, we just opened our software like this, we just opened our Cinema 4D. This is the view you get when you initially start your software. And now to model a cube, to model this Rubik's Cube reference cube, we know that we got to use a cube, some type of rectangle or cubic or square shape object. So in here we select the cube, we added it, and we just moved it with our this move tools we have here. This is for moving, this is for rotation, and this is for scale. The shortcut for these tools are E, R, and T. E is for move, R is for rotations, and T is for scale. So the easy way to remember this tool is that always remember the R is for rotation, and the for E and T are the up and down tools that are there. E is for move, T is for scaling, transform. So now, and the holding Alt and left click, you can move around the object. Holding Alt and just right clicking and zoom in, moving your mouse up and down, you can zoom in and out. And simply middle mouse button will give you the perspective views, different kind of perspective views, the top, front, right. So, and when we add our cube, we can we have two options to give it a segment. We can give it segments from here, we gave it a segments from here. If you are not seeing the lines, simply go on display and ground setting lines. We can give the segments from here. What kind of Rubik's Cube you want, you can just do it from here. But we need three currently, and simply make it editable. Right click, make it editable. Now we can manipulate the faces, the edges, and the points of our cube, and simply select all. Currently we are selecting the edges, select the faces, select all, and right click, insert. If you are not getting this kind of, simply uncheck this tool, you will get this kind of shape, and simply extrude again, simply extrude. Let's make it a little bit different this time. Let's extrude it inside, so it feels like a different kind of cube or carrot. So we made a different kind of object. Earlier we made a cube, now we made a box shape. So this as easy as it gets, guys. So simply understand the fundamentals of the modeling. Is I'm gonna give you a trick that no one tells you about the modeling. So yeah, here are the fundamental of modeling, guys. So I'm in object selection. So every module there is there is the use of these three tools, which are on top, these tools and these tools. We'll talk later about this. So currently we are using only these tools to add a cube, and we are moving. This is for move, rotation and scale. The shortcuts are E, R and T. This the box is to model selection mode. So you want to select anything, you need to go here, otherwise it won't work. So this is for face selection. You need if you need to select your faces, you just click here. If you need to select your edges, you need to select here. If you need to select the points, you need to select here. And when you get familiar with these tools, simply the other basics of modeling is we did in the cube. It's insert, extrude, loop cut. We'll talk loop cut in our other sections. Loop cut, insert, extrude, loop cut and bevel. So you don't need to understand everything that's in the Cinea 4D currently. If you try everything at once, you will get overwhelmed and you will learn nothing. So just practice the simple fundamentals of the modeling. In Blender it is the same, in Maya it is the same, and in Cinea 4D it is the same. You need certain object, you need to manipulate those objects through these tools. You need rotation, scale and transform tools, shortcuts to position them, rotation them and scale them, and you need exclusion, extrusion and loop and bevel to give them a shape. So these are the fundamental of 3D modeling, guys. I hope I see you in the next tutorial, and in next tutorial we are going to make a house. We will not use any fancy techniques, we will just use these 4 tools, and whatever we have learned today we'll just make a simple house using these tools. For you guys, I have a simple homework to do. Just make a box carrot if you can in Cinea 4D. If you are working on Blender, it's okay, you can make these things in Blender too if you feel Blender preferable. The process are all the same, guys. Just follow the simple object manipulation techniques. So just type in your 3D softwares and start making a city or a house or realistic models. Just don't do that. It will be hard and you will get overwhelmed and you will learn nothing. You will make the object, but you will never learn the fundamentals of 3D modeling. So to learn fundamentals of 3D learning, just manipulate the cube and make the Rubik's cube. It is the easy way to learn the fundamentals of the modeling tools, the loops, the bevels, the exclusions, the insert options, the movements, the move tools, and how we manipulate the object and how the objects are formed. So for you guys, I have a homework. Just add a cube and turn it into a carrot, some kind of this carrot. mm, Make it a box carrot. Make it some kind of box. Okay, I'm just selecting the box. Make it wooden box. Wooden box. So here just try making this kind of boxes, in Cinema 4D or Blender, whatever you like. These are the simple we have. I'm going to teach you first. So here I'm just going to make it this. I'm going to make it editable. Right click, make it editable. I'm going to Control Z. I'm not going to make it editable. I'm just okay, I'm going to make it editable. C, make it editable. I'm going to select this face and extrude it offside, and I'm going to just add another cube. If you can, you can just manipulate the object, but for the sake of tutorial I'm just going to add a cube. Add another cube over here on top. Scaling it downward on top, scaling it again, scaling it downward, bring it here, bring it down on top, rotation. I am pressing R to rotate, rotation, W, it this way again. Control C, Control V, duplicate the object, and here again R, rotate like this, and simply we have a box, this kind of box. So I know it's not perfect, but try to make it as perfect as it is. You can just bevel the edges. If you wanna make it more stylish, you can just select and bevel the edges. Or you can either extrude loop selection, you can either extrude this part to give it more like a top shelf, and you can also insert in here and extrude it inside, or outside, or inside, extrude inside, to make it a kind of text. So you can just use these fundamentals just to create anything you want. So thank you guys for watching my stream, and maybe I will in another stream, I will in part 2 I will teach you to model a house using the same fundamental principle that we learn. And thank you. If you like my stream, just like, subscribe, and comment on my comment sections, so I know you like my tutorials. I will try to make more tutorials for you guys in future, so be with me and just follow my YouTube channel. And thank you. See you next.